The Arizona Sonora Desert Museum is about 5 miles from Tucson, Arizona, just over the Tucson mountain range. The museum is a world-renowned zoo, natural history museum, and botanical garden, which means there's something for everyone. You will see interpretive displays of living animals and plants native to the Sonoran Desert, an area encompassing parts of Arizona and California and 4 Mexican states. Even though the museum is outdoors, most of it is accessible to wheelchairs and strollers. The museum also houses the Art Institute, which offers individual art classes as well as a nature illustration certification program. The Ironwood Gallery hosts a variety of temporary art exhibits, many times featuring local artists. There are 2 gift shops and 4 restaurants for when you get hungry. Today at the front entrance, we meet and learn about the barn owl from one of the highly trained docents who volunteers at the museum. The docents are stationed throughout the museum to teach visitors about the desert and its dwellers. Our first stop is the invertebrate and reptile exhibits. Each window has a different animal with information plaques. This docent is teaching about how harmless the desert tarantula actually is to humans. And this docent told us that the tarantula actually tickled due to barbs on the bottom of its legs to help give it traction. From the exhibits we learned which snakes are poisonous and which are not. And which toads are poisonous. This is the highly toxic to animals Colorado river toad, and which are not. Our next stop is the Earth Sciences Center, which has a very realistic man-made cave, complete with information about past and present residents of caves. There's a fascinating exhibit about the origin of our Earth. And this is one of the finest collections to be found anywhere of regional minerals and gemstones. There are many interactive displays located all over the museum that are fun for children of all ages. There is a simulated archaeological dig where kids can dig for dinosaur bones. At the mountain woodlands, the wild turkey lives with a white-tailed deer. The animals and plants here represent those found in the mountain islands within the Sonoran Desert Sea. Across the path, in separate areas for obvious reasons, live the mountain lions. These lions are brother and sister. The mountain lion is also known as a cougar or puma. Next door to the lions is a pack of Mexican gray wolves. This guy was playing in the sprinkler to cool off. This is a Gila woodpecker, and he is checking out the animal bins to see if there's anything left over. As we walked around the museum, we could hear the chatter of the woodpeckers. They are quite raucous. The woodpecker bores out holes in the saguaro to make its nest. Look to the right of each arrow for an ornate box turtle with unique markings on the shell. The bottom of the shell is hinged so that it can close like a box around the turtle. They live up to 30 years and are primarily land animals but can swim. They're omnivores, eating beetles, crickets, worms, reptiles, eggs, and even carrion. The black-tailed prairie dog is a member of the squirrel family and is very chubby. They dig their own burrows, complete with a well-constructed and reinforced dike to prevent flooding. They apparently have different warning calls for different predators. One of those predators is the ferruginous hawk, who we will meet later. On the way to the coyotes in Javelina, we stopped at Cat Canyon to see who was up and awake. This is an ocelot about 3 years old. An interesting fact is that they don't avoid water and can swim quite well. Ocelots are nocturnal. It's rare to see this guy up and about. One of the bobcats is asleep, even with all that racket. Looks like this guy's busy watching something. Oh, it's a rock squirrel. Hope he doesn't lose his footing. This one's ready to pounce. Looks like we made it just in time to catch the gray fox before it headed off for bed, since it is mainly nocturnal. The gray fox is the only member of the dog family that can climb trees, and that is usually to seek refuge or in search of roosting birds. The raccoon is always entertaining. Everything is fair game to play with. Then it's time for a snack. The wild animals are just as entertaining. This is a cactus wren breaking up a piece of stolen kibble into bite-sized pieces. Life on the Rocks is the latest exhibit. It represents a rocky hillside home with the plants, animals, and minerals found there. It even has a stream. What makes it fun is that we can see into the tunnels that the animals live in. Don't worry, all of these animals are behind glass. This is a harmless gopher snake. And it is quite something to be eye to eye with the Gila monster, even behind glass. The texture of the skin almost looks like a beaded purse. Gila monsters spend about 80 to 90% of their time underground, and their favorite food is quail eggs.
They have access to them from underground.
We were even able to observe how the keepers have access to the animals. Watch how this elf owl practically disappears as we zoom out. Coming up next is the hog-nosed skunk. Its claws are longer on the front feet to help it in digging. It's nocturnal. Its diet consists of insects, small mammals, seeds, fruit, vegetation, and carrion. Skunks give plenty of warning before spraying. The spray is for defense and can reach up to 12 feet. Their only predator is the great horned owl, which has almost no sense of smell, and we'll meet him later. Here comes the Harris antelope squirrel up and out of his hole so he can have lunch. The rocks can even be opened to reveal the scorpion living in the crevice behind glass. Thank heavens. You can see the desert is quite lush and beautiful. The spindly cactus in the foreground is called an ocotillo. The tall, stately cacti are the saguaros. The saguaro only grows about an inch a year. The largest plants with more than 5 arms are estimated to be 200 years old. Depending on the season, there are blooms, either wildflowers or cactus. This is a barrel cactus, jumping cholla, hybrid torch cactus, and the Arizona state flower, the saguaro cactus blossoms. We're now on the Desert Loop Trail to see the coyote and javelina. The coyote is a member of the dog family. It can run at almost 40 miles per hour and can get over an 8-foot fence. It's one of the most adaptable animals in the world, comfortable in either the wild or the alleys of a city. Javelina are not pigs. They're called peccaries and are classified in a family of their own because their bodies are shaped differently. They're social and they live in groups from 6 to 12 members. They eat, sleep, and forage together. They're not dangerous if left alone. Their eyesight is poor but have excellent hearing and smell. Unlike coyotes and bobcats, javelina are unable to evaporate moisture through panting to prevent overheating. Therefore, they tend to remain near permanent sources of water. During the fierce heat of the day, they bed down in the shade and then forage when it's cooler. This is the end of part 1 of Unique Views of Nature Travels to Arizona Sonora Desert Museum. Be sure to continue on with this fun tour with part 2. Also check out the other unique videos and beautiful photograph note cards available for purchase at our website, www.uniqueviewsofnature.com.